Okay, this is the Caylee Anthony story, but we're going to do kind of like a timeline. Um, August the 9th, 2005, Caylee Marie Anthony is born. Caylee arrives after Casey's reported denials to other family members about her pregnancy, although she suggests possible partners, including then fiance Jesse Grund and another young man who supposedly died in a car accident. The identity of Caylee's father is never publicly revealed. On June 16th, 2008, Casey drives off with Caylee. Caylee was raised in the Orlando home of her grandparents, Cindy and George Anthony. But the day after an alleged family argument on Father's Day, June 15th, Casey leaves with her younger daughter and rebuffs efforts to reconcile in person with her mama Dee. Um, July 15th, 2008, Cindy reports that Caylee is missing. After learning that the family car used by Casey has been impounded, George retrieves the car and is overwhelmed by the smell that remains even after a bag of trash is removed from the trunk. Cindy tracks down her daughter later that day over a string of 911 calls and reports that Caylee has been missing for a month and demands Casey's arrest and notes that the vehicle's odor, saying it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car. Excuse my language, but that's what it says. Um, July 16th, 2008, Casey is arrested. Casey leads investigators on a pair of wild goose chases, first to the inhabited apartment of a nanny named Zendaya Fernandez Gonzalez, who allegedly ran off with Caylee on June 9th, and then to Universal Studios, where Casey pretended to have a job. She is arrested and charged with child neglect, lying to investigators, and interfering with a criminal investigation. On July 22nd, 2008, Casey is declared a person of interest in a bond hearing. A hearing introduces the evidence that a cadaver dog has zeroed in on the odor of human decomposition in the car trunk of the car, and the Anthony's backyard, as well as Cindy's admission that they had all seen Caylee June 9th. Although Casey is being held on relatively minor charges, the judge is disturbed, disturbed enough by the evidence that the young mother's seemingly indifferent behavior to set bill at $500,000. August 20th, 2008, Casey's bond is posted. California bounty hunter Leonard Padilla announces that he was paid $500,000 with the hope that Casey would lead him to Caylee. August 30th, 2008, the bond is rescinded. The reversal comes the day after Casey's arrest for allegedly stealing and cashing checks from a friend, with angry crowds demonstrating outside the Anthony's home. Contributing to the decision, I gave it my best shot, and she didn't want to talk to me. Anthony will again be released after other parties combine to oppose the bond on September the 5th, although she returned to jail by the end of the month. October 14th, 2008. Caylee is charged with first-degree murder. The unsealed indictment also charges her with aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter, and 4 counts of providing false information to law enforcement. October 24th, 2008. Forensic reports from an examination of Caylee's car are released. The reports note that a human strand discovered in the truck is microscopically similar to those found on Caylee's brush, and showed characteristics of apparent decomposition. Additionally, an air sample from the truck is found to contain chemical compounds consistent with human decomp. December 11th, 2008, the skeletal remains of a young girl are discovered. The bones are found in a bag in a wooded area less than half a mile from Anthony's home by a utility worker. It is later revealed that the person that found him, the utility worker, had sought to convince the police to search the area back in summer, but they never did. It wasn't until December 11th, 2008 that they found it. December 20th, 2008, the remains are confirmed to be those of Caylee. The Orange County Chief Medical Examiner reports that the bones showed no evidence of trauma and that Caylee's body is being ruled as a homicide of an undetermined means. Although the skull is found and was duct taped around the nose, mouth, and jaw, the advanced state of decomposition ultimately prevents investigators from pinpointing the exact cause and date of death. January 23rd, 2009. George is taken into custody after a suicide attempt. George is reported to be despondent and possibly under the influence of medication alcohol when he was located at a hotel in Daytona Beach, Florida, along with a 5-page suicide note. Oh, Lord. April 13th, 2009. Prosecutors announced that the intention to pursue the death penalty. Although earlier court papers indicated that the death penalty would not be in play, the new notice of intent cites sufficient aggravating circumstances to justify the implication of the death penalty. On May 24th, 2011, there is a defense bombshell. The trial begins with the prosecution's opening of Caylee being a party girl with no use for a younger daughter, as evidenced by the months spent shopping and drinking during Caylee's absence. Those remarks are soon eclipsed by Caylee's attorney, stunning opening statement, which asserts that Caylee drowned in the family swimming pool and that George sought to cover up the accidental death. The lead defense lawyer also alleges that George had molested Caylee, thereby igniting her habit of lying to cover up the pain. The utility worker that found Caylee's body, he took the stand. George denies that he ever molested his daughter or knew anything about Caylee's drowning. On May 27, 2011, a witness offers his theory about the smell in Caylee's car. the manager of the towing company that impounded Casey's car in June of 2008, testifies that he had encountered multiple vehicles with dead bodies during during his 3 decades in the business, and that the smell from Casey's car was consistent of those past experiences. The same day, the fiance of Casey's brother also took the stand and describes the very special bond she observed between Caylee and her mother. June 6, 2011. A forensics expert takes a stand. There was a shockingly high amount of chloroform, a chemical released by decomposition, in the car, as well as one that could have been used to knock someone unconscious, detected in a car trunk, led to his conclusion that a dead body was indeed present. However, his testimony is contradicted the following day by FBI scientists who compares chloroform level in the trunk to the amount found in household cleaners. June 8, 2011. The jury ponders the relevance of search engines on her computer. A software designer testifies that someone has searched for chloroform a whopping 84 times and also looked up such terms as head injuries, ruptured spleen, chest trauma, internal bleeding on the Anthony's home computer in March 2008 during the regular work hours of Cindy and George. The designer later reports an area in his detecting software and determines that the user visited a site related to chloroform only once. June 23rd, 2011. Cindy relevates previous testimony. In a crucial day of defense, Cindy claims that she was the one who researched chloroform on the computer, but she also testifies that a stain found in the trunk, allegedly caused by Caylee's decomposing body, was there when the family purchased the car 8 years earlier. July 3rd, 2011. The two sides present their closing arguments, continue the narrative that Casey was overly burdened by Caylee. The lead prosecutor, Jeff Ashton, emphasizes to the jury how the young mother was motivated enough to go to extremes to achieve her freedom. Something needed to be sacrificed, that something was either the life that she wanted or the life thrust upon her. He says she chose to sacrifice her child. While forbidden from revisiting the unsupported molestation claims, the Baez, he was the attorney for Casey, nevertheless delivers an effective closing argument by pointing out the lack of evidence that could be definitely place Caylee's body in the car trunk or tie Casey to her daughter's death. July 5th, 2011. Casey is found not guilty of murder. After 6 weeks of testimony and 400 pieces of evidence presented in the court, the jury of 7 women and 5 men took less than 11 hours to reach a verdict of not guilty. July 7th, 2011. Casey is sentenced to time already served. Casey receives a 4-year sentence and a $4,000 fine for 4 counts of lying to police, but the prison time is canceled out by the near 3 years already spent behind bars and credit for good behavior. July 17th, 2011. Casey was released from jail. Casey exits the Orange County jail shortly after midnight, passing the approximately 100 protesters who showed up to demand justice for Caylee. It is my hope that Casey Anthony can receive the counseling and treatment she needs to move forward for the rest of her life, her attorney said. But that is the timeline of the Caylee Anthony story. We will have another story going up. And I have a list here. And I'm going to close my eyes and just pick one. Heath Ledger story coming up next.